Hello, we are having Super Bowl 46 today. It's 2:34 here in Virginia right now, and we are uh, just a few hours away from the Super Bowl, and we all know that Giants are going to win Super Bowl 46. All right. Go Giants!
Yeah, whatever. The Giants.
Okay.
The only thing good about New York is Wall Street. And we'll leave it at that.
New York has everything good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's why he lives in Virginia and not New York. I rest my case.
because I married a Virginian.
Like I said, he had to come all the way to Virginia to get a good woman, and he's still here. So, once again, the only thing good in New York is Wall Street.
That's not because New York women are not good. New York women are excellent.
That's right. That's why you married a woman from Virginia and you live in Virginia. Right? Okay, the end of that discussion. Let's talk about what's going on in the Republican primaries. Let's see, we have a caucus coming up on Tuesday, right?
They're calling you Colorado.
That would be, is it Colorado or is it Nevada?
I called Nevada already happened, right?
Nevada had theirs?
Nevada had yesterday.
I thought they had their caucus meeting, what, yesterday?
Yeah, and Romney won.
But he did win the caucus? Did he get all the delegates? Or did they split the delegates?
No,
1, 2, 3?
He didn't get all the delegates, but he won Nevada caucus.
And the Colorado one is Tuesday?
Yeah,
So we're on the western swing right now.
Gingrich was number 2, Ron Paul was 3, and Senator Romney was number 4.
Yeah. So and since we taped last, Romney has won Florida, and he got all 50 of those delegates, correct?
He's going. Yeah, Florida is going to be penalized by RNC for holding it early. So they're going to get only 50% of the seats in.
When they go to seat at the end.
And the convention, which is going to be, they're 50 something. 50,
yeah. So it looks like the Republican establishment and the Republican money train has decided to follow Romney with the endorsement of Trump to Romney on Friday. And so, what do you think?
I am really disappointed with how this nomination process is going on so far. I don't see Romney as a candidate who can get the neutral and independent voters and who has any appeal. Even for the conservative Republicans and conservative Democrats, he doesn't have much appeal. So, and without that, you cannot win a general election.
Well, but beyond that, you can't beat the money machine that Barack has behind him. He's got $1 billion.
If you are running solely on money, then of course you cannot win with Obama.
But that's pretty much what Romney is going to be going on, because I don't think the conservatives like him. I don't even think the independents like him. I mean, honestly, when I look at a candidate like Romney, I think he is too squeaky clean, number one. And you probably say, well, why would you say he's too squeaky clean? Well, I don't think any man is perfect. And he appears to be perfect. He's got the perfect family. He's got the perfect kids. He's got the perfect wife. He's got the perfect business. He was the perfect politician. He was the perfect businessman. That doesn't exist in the world that we live in. There's two kind of men in the world. Those that have been caught and those that will be caught. And the question is, when are you going to get caught? They're not saying that he's perfect, but I mean, in my opinion, when he released his taxes, there were things in there that already showed that he had some issues.
Oh, yeah.
When you are a lifelong member of the Mormon Church and you didn't pay your 10% that you're supposed to, that right there says, well, why didn't you pay your 10%? Because you say you are a devout Mormon, you believe in its cause, you are fanatical when it comes to being in that religious order, then why did you cheat on your taxes?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to cheat on your taxes. You only have, what, $600, $700, $800 million, and you're going to quibble over a few pennies? I think there's something wrong there. To me, that's a character issue as well as integrity, because Had he not released his taxes, even the Mormon Church would have known that he lied on his taxes and his contributions. Now that's kind of nitpicking, but I'm just saying I don't see any reason to get excited about Romney. He, to me, is just like warm milk right before I go to bed. It's going to make my stomach settle and make me go to sleep, but I can't get excited about this candidate at all.
Yeah, there's nothing to be excited about. Hillary Clinton had the whole Clinton machine behind her, but she still couldn't win because Obama had so much money.
Yeah.
And he had such a strong network on internet of young voters that who was so enthusiastic and worked so hard for him, and they are still, not all of them, but most of them are still in place there.
Well, they are, but even this past weekend, he's trying to throw the college students a bone or two about, well, maybe we're going to do something about the accelerating cost of college education. He said that to get elected. Nothing's happened. Yeah, he revamped Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, but it didn't change what it's going to cost you to go to school. If anything, it made it even harder to get any kind of assistance for school, because now they decide when you should be finished with school. If you haven't finished school, they automatically cut your aid off, whether it's a grant, whether it's loans, you're done. So it hasn't made it better for them, it's made it worse for them. And school is still going up every year.
The thing is that, by taking out the banks from the process, they have improved the amount of money available for the students.
Right. There is a lot of money available,
right,
but you can't get it.
Of course, government has its own bureaucracies and red tape, but I personally think that banks were not doing a very good job with the student loans.
They had no incentive to.
They have no incentive,
They don't ever have it. The only reason, to give you an example, the reason we had the high housing crisis is because the government stepped in and said, well, you're going to have to loan money to everybody, regardless of what their income is, regardless of what their socioeconomical background is, regardless of what their occupation is, you have to give them a loan. Well, everybody, and this may sound elitist, which I'm not, but everybody does not deserve to own a home, because most people don't know what to do when they get a home. And that was clearly evident when they actually got the homes, and most of them lost their homes because they didn't know what to do with it when they got it.
Yeah, it was not just government. It was a very big factor in housing crisis was the banks profiteering.
This is true, but they were incentivized by the government to give everyone a loan, regardless if the person qualified or not. That's why you had no documentation fee loans. That's why you had no identification loans, no down payment loans, no pre-qualifying loans. Your son could go in and get a loan at that time with just a piece of paper that says, well, this is who I am.
Yeah,
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know, because I did not buy a house in that market, and you did not buy a house.
Because I wasn't crazy.
Yeah, you did not buy a house in that market, and there were people, in my family, in my friends, who told me blankly on my face that you are stupid. and I said, time will tell who is stupid, but the thing is that there is absolutely no way that this market can be sustained.
Right. It was unsustainable.
It was totally unsustainable. The prices were so high, and they were so high compared to the average income of the home buyers,
right,
that there was no way that they would be able to sustain it. And when the market crashed, and I bought a house at a price which at the peak of that market would have been about double price of
right.
I can afford this mortgage, and if I have bought it before, I would have never been able to afford it, and I would have been one of those people who are in line for readjustments and foreclosures and this and that, blah blah blah. So the problem here is, William, is that I don't know. I mean, I have a little idea, but I'm not sure. But the thing is that I don't know how and when owning a house became American dream.
Oh, well, that was the pitch. That started, when that started. That started under Clinton. He's the one that ushered in this. It's the American dream to own property, okay? And that's when all this started. He actually changed the capital gain laws. When it came to owning a home, you had to own a home for at least 3 years, and then you would get up to $250,000 if you were a single person, tax-free. If you were a married couple, up to $500,000, tax-free. That's when it all started. And that's what created the market of flipping, because what a person would do is they would buy the house at $150,000, okay, and this bubble is still growing. 3 years later, this house is worth 50% or 75% more. Well, I pay my loan off. The money I make from that is tax-free because it's capital gains money on a home. And they used to have to file a form where you'd have to either reinvest the money in something or walk away. So what people kept doing is they kept buying a bigger house, a bigger house, a bigger house, because it was a good investment, because your turnaround is in 3 years. And in this area that we're in, the Mid-Atlantic area, you had appreciations of 25%, 35 cents, even 50% in 1 year. So you think about it, if I bought a house at $150,000 and 3 years later, I'm selling it at $425,000, well, if I'm a married couple, all that money is tax-free because I don't have to pay any tax capital gains on it, up to $500,000. I can take that money and buy even a bigger house because in 3 more years, my bigger house is going to be worth even more money. And that's what made the bubble keep growing and growing and growing. Hence, it was unsustainable. Because unfortunately, you had other people coming and doing the same thing. We're doing the interest-only loans. Well, they didn't pay any money down, and they only paid the interest on the house. So they would flip like that every 3 years. And then you have the other abusers, because we even worked with a few of them that were housekeepers. Some of the housekeepers we worked with had 5 houses. How do you have 5 houses when you make $25,000 a year? How do you do that? Mm-hmm. So when you have that type of abuse, and the mentality is, and then everybody wants to say, well, the banks were the ones were victimizing the people. Well, no one made you walk in there and sign the papers. They really didn't. You did that of your own accord. You knew when you walked in there you made $15,000 a year. What you were trying to do was hedge, hoping that you would be able to make enough money on the flip around that you'd be able to be okay. And unfortunately, a lot of people got caught when the bubble burst. And that's when they really realized, oh my God. And somebody had to be to blame for it. So me and you, taxpayers who didn't even own a home at the time, we were left with the bill to bail out people who didn't use their brain properly in making a business decision with home buying to bail out people that I was like, why do I have to take my hard-earned tax money? I don't own a home. I'm renting a place, and I have to pay for your house. Mm-hmm. That makes no sense.
Yeah, I think the capital gain was a very good tax break, but it just the corporations just abused it.
Well, when you have a cycle like that, how else can it do? It's going to be abused because they're making money every time they transition a house.
I remember that every other ad on every major channel on TV was about best time to buy houses,
absolutely,
lowest interest rates, this, that, blah, blah, blah.
Which was a lie because the lowest interest rates have been the last 3 months.
It was not the best time to buy a house because house prices were so high.
They were overpriced.
It was a flat out lie.
Yeah.
But so many people fell for it, and it just finally it just became unaffordable, and the market crashed.
Yeah. The bubble just burst because it was not sustainable.
The American dream, if you look at the history right from the beginning, has always been to own a business.
Yes, exactly.
Is to own a business. I don't know how and why. I mean, it's just suddenly the thinking became that just earn a paycheck and buy a home and have a happy life, get married, be married, be happy, and this was not the American way. This was not the American way.
Well, especially that getting married and be happy. That definitely wasn't part of the dream. That was a nightmare.
And cut.